And folks, guess what? We are live here after the game. Big game for the Washington Commanders as they pummel the Arizona Cardinals. Haven't been able to actually use that expression in a long time, Brandon, but they routed, they pummeled the Arizona Cardinals 42-14. We're going to get into this, so let's get started. And welcome back to another live stream here at the Washington Football Maniacs. My name is Greg Sykes, along with my buddy and co-host Brandon Scott, and we are recapping a tremendous game that the Washington Commanders had over the Arizona Cardinals. This time, this is what happens when both the offense and defense, hey, even special teams, shows up. You get a tremendous domination. I think that's what we have to say, and even Arizona fans would probably say that as well. 42-14. And Brandon, it's funny because at halftime, we're up 17-7, and I'm like, okay, that's not a bad half. But in the back of my mind, I'm thinking we got to keep scoring. We got to keep scoring because I don't trust our defense to hold these Cardinals to 7 points. But you know what? They actually did hold them to 7 points for most of the game until sometime in the third quarter. Well, toward the end of the third quarter, they were able to punch it in. But overall, 2 drives they allowed for the Cardinals, and that was it. They really stymied the Arizona Cardinals today. We're going to get into the stats. So if we bring up the stats here, Jaden Daniels, he did throw his first pick, Brandon. But you know what? We talked about it. It wasn't necessarily that bad of a pick. It looked like it just maybe a little bit tall for Terry McLaurin. But he's going through picks, obviously. But 26 of 30 for 233 yards, 1 touchdown. Of course, that 1 pick. He also had 47 yards rushing as well. So great day by Jaden Daniels all around, minus that 1 pick. The Commanders just went up and down the field at ease. We did finally see Tress Way make his appearance in since week 1. I think they had to go and wake him up in the locker room and bring him out and said, no, you actually have to punt. He's like, are you serious? We're not going for it on 4th down. But yeah, he had a really good punt as well. So so special teams, defense, the only thing that I think I can probably knock the defense on, probably run defense. We did get gashed quite a bit by Connor. But when it counted, Washington got the turnovers. They got the stops. And this is what happens when you put together a complete game, all 4 quarters.
Oh, yeah.
And, and going to your playmakers, Terry McLaurin, a touchdown today, 7 receptions for 52 yards. Zacchaeus, he had 6 catches for 85 yards. Noah Brown had a few catches. Zach Ertz, of course, a few catches. Luke McCaffrey, that 1 catch for 17 yards. I'd like to see more of Luke, honestly. Of course, Brian Robinson rushing today had 21 carries for 101 yards. So another plus 100-yard day for Brian Robinson. He's really starting to look like the workhorse.
Oh, yeah.
The workhorse. Jeremy McNichols stepped up for the injured Austin Eckler today. 8 carries for 68 yards himself. So we had a tremendous day on the ground rushing. And then if we look at the defense, and we always like to look at tackles again. Bobby Wagner, Jeremy Chin, Frankie Louvu lead with the tackles. Jonathan Allen, he was a little bit more active today, and even Deron Payne got in there for half of the sack. Still kind of quiet. We still need some more out of those two guys, obviously. Dorrance Armstrong got in there and had a sack and a half today. Emmanuel Forbes, a couple of tackles, but was pretty quiet, which in a way that's kind of a good thing. When your corners are quiet, it means we're not picking on them. And you're right. And so it was good. The secondary played pretty well today for the most part, I thought. Jamie Davis, I'm just picking out a few guys here. He had 3 tackles, 2 were solo tackles. The defensive line, Brandon, actually getting to Kyler Murray and sacked him, 4 times today? I mean, wow. That we needed the defensive line to step up. They did. Rushed the quarterback. I mean, still, even though the rushing game was on for Arizona, really that offense goes through Kyler Murray and as much, Marvin Harrison Jr. And they kept him pretty quiet, a couple of catches, but really, kept him out of the ball game. And so overall, I mean, what can I say? I mean, this team looks nothing like what you saw last year.
Not even close.
Not even in the last few years. I mean, this is a team. This is the best start. I think I heard this was the best start that they have had since what was it, 2011? They said, which I was like, really? We have to go all the way back to 2011 to see that this, a start like this. And of course, as Sexy Rexy was our quarterback back then. It's hard to believe, but yeah, I mean, everything seems like it's coming together quickly, a lot faster than I anticipated. Do I still anticipate only 7 wins this season? I'm cautiously optimistic because, and I posted this on Twitter earlier, I said, I think I have a shell shock from the last 25 plus years. I'm like, I'm not ready to believe in everything just yet. I believe in Jaden Daniels. I definitely believe in Jaden Daniels, my friend, but I just I don't know. I'm always waiting for the other shoe to drop, and I hate to be that way. And I'm not trying to be a negative Nelly on this whatsoever, but I guess I'm just shocked, because honestly, if we go back to the Giants game, wins like that, I'm like, this is probably what you're going to see. You're going to see some hard-fought wins this year. You're going to see some good things, but they're going to have to continue to grow. And then all of a sudden, it was like that Monday night game sparked something inside this team. And I truly believe that the mental aspect of this game is probably at least 80-90% of the game.
Yeah.
And something with that win over the Bengals, I call them the Bengals. Some people call them the Bengals. I'm like, wait a minute. They're not that 80s rock band, but I just I feel like that really sparked because no one expected them to go and beat Cincinnati on Monday night, and a few people started thinking that maybe they can beat Arizona, but I think still most people were thinking, okay, they're going to come back down to earth. There's going to be the kind of the hangover from Monday night. And Brandon, they actually looked better because they looked like more of a complete team for the most part. A complete team today than Monday night. But sometimes it just takes a certain game that your team has against a certain team, and then all of a sudden that's just enough to really start believing in yourself. And when you're a team that believes in themselves, good things can happen. But Brandon, I mean, what were your thoughts? What was going through your mind as you're sitting there watching this game?
I mean, we finally made it, man. I mean, this was a great team victory overall. I really don't have a con. Like you said, you can nitpick a little bit about the defense, but even the secondary played very well. I mean, you can kind of look at Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen, and it, you obviously want to expect a little more, especially looking at the price tag. But even then, Allen got a sack, 4 tackles, and Deron Payne got a tackle, half a sack. Yes, at first glance, you definitely want more production for the price tag, but overall, this team played well as a team. Looking at the offense real quick. Like as far as pros, I mean, obviously Jaden Daniels, yeah, he threw a pick, but I'm not concerned. He's going to throw picks. Every quarterback in the league throws picks. As part of the learning curve with him, so I'm not concerned at all. 26 for 30. So again, another efficient game. 233 yards, 1 touchdown. Quarterback rating of 96.3. So again, Jaden Daniels not only impresses with his arm, but impresses with his legs. And we have finally gotten a franchise quarterback. I'm very impressed with this young man, and he is definitely the quarterback of the future and the present for the Washington Commanders. So we should definitely be optimistic with this team just because of quarterback play. We finally have a number one quarterback, a legitimate franchise quarterback. So I'm very happy because, I mean, he's impressed me on the field and off the field just with his demeanor and how he carries himself. The running back room continues to impress. Obviously, also Eckler was out. I mean, McNichols came in and picked it right up where he left off. 8 carries, 68 yards overall, 2 touchdowns. I mean, this is the guy that'll third string. And this is a testament to depth, the depth on this team. Next man up. We kind of talked about it before the broadcast, man, where years past, especially on the Ron Rivera, we would have injuries. And the whole mantra, next man up, whether it's due to not being the right fit for the system or just, kind of overrated him as a player. But players would struggle when a starter will go down. And you will see that dip of production, kind of like what we were talking about before the show, man. You don't see this with this team. Next man up is definitely the mantra. And guys coming in, they're playing high-level football. Brian Robinson Jr., one thing I said before the season started, one thing I want to see from him is getting that 1,000-yard campaign. He's well on his way there. 21 carries, 101 yards, averaging around almost 5 yards a carry. Longest rush was 18 yards. I mean, he is a beast. I mean, this guy is a dog. This guy lowers his shoulder pads, and he's taking about 6 or 7 players with him. He's not playing around. Brian Robinson Jr. is definitely that lead back. And again, we have that franchise quarterback. We definitely have a lead back. I definitely believe, especially if you look at his pass catching, he's an every down back, in my opinion. Brian Robinson Jr. has proven to be that every down back. So at this point, man, Austin Eckler, as good as he is you know what I mean? That's how much depth we had. Where your second string running back could easily start. I mean, just how much depth we had. So looking at the receiver, the biggest thing for me was who's going to really take a lot of pressure off of Scary Terry. Zacchaeus tonight, 6 receptions, 85 yards, averaged 14 yards per catch, 6 targets, 6 receptions. I mean, he stepped up. Noah Brown, 3 receptions, but we definitely want to see him get more involved with the offense. Zach Ertz, 3 receptions. So I do want to see more from Luke McCaffrey, especially in the slot. 1 catch, definitely want to see more than that because I think the kid's going to be a really good receiver. Now, one thing to kind of think about real quick when it comes to Luke McCaffrey is that people got to realize he's a converted quarterback. So it's going to take time for him to probably develop. You're going to, his performance is going to slowly come up, but he's a guy who he's still figuring out who he is as a receiver. But I think he is definitely the best fit in a slot receiver, in my opinion, and definitely looking a lot more from him. And then the defense, this linebacker group we have, Louisville and Bobby Wagner are the real deal. These guys can play. I mean, obviously Bobby Wagner is a future Hall of Famer, but Louisville to me was the best move we made this offseason outside of Jay Daniels, number 2 overall. You know what I mean? He was a really good move for this defense because you can argue that Bobby Wagner is definitely a leader on the team, but Louisville is one of these guys who lead by example. I mean, this guy is playing his heart out, man. He's a dog. He is a dog. So I don't have anything negative to say. Like I said, I mean, if we're really going to nitpick, I guess, you want more production out of Jonathan Allen. I mean, he got a sack, but you're looking from him and Deron Payne. My expectations are Pro Bowl caliber stats because they're getting paid Pro Bowl caliber salaries. So that's my biggest thing. If you're going to take anything negative out of his performance, it's going to be their performance. I need more than that. You know what I mean? Like I said, they did okay, but the price tag has to equal the production. And here's the thing:
Yes.
football, not so much in basketball and baseball because their salaries are guaranteed. And I do get this to a certain degree when it comes to NFL, and when the players have the whole excuse, whereas when I play better, I should get paid more. Fair enough. But here's the thing: if you do not match up to your production according to your salary, can we have the argument that you should get paid less? I mean, you can look at Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne and be like, look, man, for the price tag, we need you to step your production up because if they start performing at a Pro Bowl level, this defense is going to get better. The secondary, because here's the thing about the secondary, there's a lot of put on their shoulders right now. We're not putting much pressure on the quarterback. So they have to kind of up the ante real quick, and they have to strive to be perfect on as far as coverage because there's no pressure at all. So if Jonathan Allen and Deron Payne can get some pressure on the quarterbacks, then I think it's going to take a lot of pressure off the secondary. And then and again, looking at Jamie Davis, done well attacking the quarterback. So overall, beautiful team victory. But I'm gonna tell you this, Greg, before we move on, man, before I pass the mic. I'm a believer. I'm gonna be real with you. I'm by nature a skeptic. I'm very loyal to my teams, man. I love my Commanders. Go back to being the Skins. I'm very loyal to this organization. The Wizards, the list goes on. I'm a D&D guy, man, DC guy. But as a Redskins, as a Washington football team, as a Commanders fan, you're naturally kind of hesitant to really put your stamp on the team being very good. But look at the schedule going forward. I mean, let's be real. We have Cleveland. They're kind of a mixed bag. You don't know, but I think it's definitely a winnable game. At Baltimore, it's going to be hard. But look, I went to the Ravens game. The home field advantage at M&T Bank Stadium ain't what it used to be. Even though I do think the Ravens are going to be a really good team. But that is kind of, I think that's going to be a hard game, but it's winnable. At home against Carolina, why don't you just put a dub down there? I mean, the team's bad. Chicago, Kalen Williams versus JD5. Come on now.
I can't wait for that.
Man, I'm looking forward to that matchup, man, because I think that Jane Daniels is the best quarterback in this draft. Easy. I mean, let's go on. At New York, the Giants have snuck a win in there, but they're not a good team. Pittsburgh, Justin Fields, I'm still not to the point where I believe that Justin Fields could be that franchise quarterback, even though I really do hope he can be good coming over from the Bears, man, because now it's starting to look like he may not have been the problem in Chicago. I'm just saying. But, I mean, look at the schedule. I mean, Philadelphia is tripping right now. We have them on, and I believe it's a Thursday night game because it's on Amazon. So the November 14th at Philadelphia could be a winnable game. Dallas, Tennessee, at New Orleans is probably the one game outside of Baltimore where it's like, okay, this is gonna be a really hard game. But this team is good. Now, here's the thing: what really holds us back, Greg, is the secondary. That's what holds us back. The defense being consistent. If the defense can be consistent, I think we could sneak in there and be a playoff team, a wild card team, in my opinion. That's how I feel right now. Now, obviously, we're still early on in the season. It could be something change. We could definitely hit rock bottom. I don't believe so because you see something with this organization you didn't see in years past. Jayden Daniels, not only with his athleticism and how he is a player on the field, he's got the head of a veteran, the savviness, the fact that he goes out there, he plays his heart out, and he just has that confidence about him, man. So I'm going to get off this soapbox, and I'm very happy. This is a really good victory. And if you look at the schedule, I think this could be a under the radar sneaker wild card playoff team. So you guys get in the comment section and you guys let me know how you feel, man. But I definitely think, if they continue to be consistent like this and really play the way they are and come together like they are as a team, this could be a sneaker wild card team.
I am so scared to agree with you on that because, I'm thinking, and I've been shell shocked for the last 20 plus years, honestly, because I've seen times. Let's go back way back, probably before some Commanders fans were even born. Back in, and I'm trying to think of the year. It was the late '90s. Gus Frerotte was the quarterback.
Oh yeah,
and Washington was like 8-1 at one point, right? I remember talking, this team's going to the Super Bowl. I mean, they just kept cranking out wins.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, just, the bottom fell out in the defense, and the team wound up like 8-8 or something like that. And I was just like, this was the biggest slip of a season that I've ever witnessed, right? And so it's like ever since then, I've always been like, you know, this team, I'm not going to say they're a playoff team until they have made the playoffs, right? I
Yeah.
am just like, yeah, because being pessimistic, I guess, as well, and which is weird for me because usually I'm like more of the optimistic, sometimes maybe unrealistic, but I start to think I'm like, I worry about injuries, you
Yeah.
know.
Yeah.
Um, Jaden Daniels, if he got injured, that offense, in my opinion, falls apart.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
And because he's making plays that rookies are not supposed to be making at this point. And there's already talk already, and there's going to be even more talk now of, is he already in Patrick Mahomes land? Is
Well,
he
yeah.
already there? And I'm like, no. If
Nah.
you ask him, he says, I'm Jaden Daniels. Right?
Yeah.
He's like, I'm a rookie, but he's not playing like rookies I've seen play. He, like you said, he is calm. He's cool. He's collected. He's making the plays. But I think you have to give credit to Cliff Kingsbury,
Oh yeah.
because
Yeah.
he is calling he is calling games that is in the favor of Jaden Daniels. As the defensive back said from Cincinnati, it's a easy college offense. Uh,
Yeah.
at this point, I'm not sure if I believe it's an easy college offense, but I think it's easier for Jaden Daniels because A, he's put in the work,
Yeah.
and B, he's got a good play caller calling the plays. And they're doing exactly what they said they were going to do. They're going to run football. They're
Yep.
running the football.
Yes, sir.
Um, and we're starting to see the NFL kind of start to move back into the importance of running the football.
Yeah.
And yes, this is a quarterback league or quarterback driven league, but you still have to be able to run the football effectively. And the Washington Commanders are doing that. Kingsbury is calling a good game plan for this for Brian Robinson Jr., for Jaden Daniels, and it's working.
Yeah.
And so, I mean, you can call it whatever offense you want to call it, but it's working. And Jaden Daniels, I mean, I'm feeling 100% confident and comfortable with him because he's making it look easy in some respects.
Yeah.
I mean, even when you're like, oh man, he's going to get sacked, and somehow he gets out of it, and that is Patrick Mahomes like. How many times have we seen where Patrick Mahomes looks like he is dead in the water, and somehow he's either able to get the football out to his receiver, or he sneaks out of it. I mean, Jaden Daniels is like that. I'm not ready to say he's the best quarterback in the league by any stretch.
Oh
By
no,
any stretch.
no. But that's,
No,
I hate those comparisons, man.
I do
Like,
too.
let him play. Let him beat Jaden
Hmm.
Daniels. I hate when they're so quick to compare these guys. I mean, you're putting pressure on the young quarterback. He is so humble, and that's what I'm saying. That his mental is what impresses me more than his physical attributes, because he obviously can play football at a high level, but the way he carries himself, the way he talks in press conferences, he has a grown man attitude. And you might not think that's a big deal, but it is, because if you look at
Yeah.
other quarterbacks, man, nothing against Shedeur Sanders, man, but to me, it's polar opposites as far as what you expect from a quarterback, man. As far as confidence is one thing. You definitely want your quarterback to be confident, but he's humble. He knows where he's at. He knows that he's a rookie. But stop. I hate when they compare it, because Patrick Mahomes is a guy who's put how many years of work? You know what I mean? Don't compare the kid, man. Don't put the pressure on the kid. Let him be Jaden Daniels. Stop worrying about Patrick Mahomes. Let him be Jaden Daniels. And because people, especially once you get closer to Chicago with that matchup, people are going to put him and Caleb Williams against each other, and see who's better than it. No, I ain't worried about Caleb Williams. I ain't worried about Chicago Bears, man. I'm worried about Jaden Daniels. And like I said, this team looks good. Now, I'm with you. I am hesitant because they have broke my heart in years past. They start off good, and then it's like, oh man, here we go. Injuries do happen, but I mean, look at the schedule. There's nobody on the schedule who is dominant outside of New Orleans and Baltimore right now. I mean, They lost to Las Vegas at home. I mean, that's the first time in a while they've lost in their home opener. I mean, you look at the schedule again, who's really dominant right now? I mean, Dallas and Philly, they're not looking good, man. I mean, they don't look like they're not playing good football. And if I'm a betting man, which I am to a degree with sports betting, Sirianni's gone. If he's not gone by the end of the year, he is gone before by the deadline, because Philly does not look good at all. Dallas is, and then New York, whereas we know the Giants are just hot garbage. So this team, just the fact that the division is so bad right now, and the fact that this schedule, I mean, I'm looking at the schedule. I mean, most of these games are winnable. I mean, Chicago to me is a win. Carolina Panthers are a win. Now, with Andy Dalton, that changes things a little bit. They've been playing some good football. Andy Dalton and Deontay Johnson, and they got a nice connection, but it to me is a win. The only game that I think they're going to give us a run for money is at Baltimore, because it's tough to win in Baltimore. It's hard to win in Baltimore. And I'm looking at the schedule. I mean, New Orleans, but New Orleans is a team that nothing against New Orleans. I don't see them sustaining what they're doing right now. I do like their car, but I don't see them sustaining it.
And they lost today, to Kirk Cousins, Atlanta Falcons. So, yeah, I liked what I saw with them at the beginning of the of the season a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm with you. New Orleans doesn't necessarily scare me. Honestly, if you go back to the first game with Tampa Bay, and now you've seen how Tampa Bay has played, that's a team that honestly I think right now is the early premature pick for a Super Bowl spot, because they look really good. And so, looking back on it now, I'm like, that was a game that we fought hard, but we lost. They are that good. But yeah, to your point, and I'm trying not to look ahead. I mean, I'm looking at Cleveland, and certainly, that should be a winnable game.
Oh yeah.
But yeah, it's the NFL. It's so weird, like from week to week. I mean, you start to see some teams that are just like, oh wow, this team, Minnesota, they're 4-0.
I know.
But it's like, but how are these teams going to look toward the end of the season? And that's where it really counts, right? Once you get past the midway point of the year, you really start to see the teams that are supposed to be in it at the end of the year really start to emerge and take hold of their divisions or whatnot. Unless it's the NFC East, and that seems like that's always decided last game of the season.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so some of these teams, surprising teams, it's like they're probably going to fall back down to earth. Kansas City, they're always going to, they really haven't played that well.
Yeah.
But I mean, they win, but they're not really being a dominant team per se. Kelsey hasn't really had very good games. Patrick Mahomes has kind of been, more like Clark Kent here lately. And so, not trying to babble on, but just saying that, looking ahead, it's like, yeah, I mean, right now, if Washington continues to put together good football on both sides of the football like they did today, it's going to be very tough to beat them. I feel like it's going to be very tough to beat them anyway. Even if they didn't have this game like they had today, they're going to be a scrappy team. They're going to be a team that is going to put the NFL on notice that, hey, they're not that far away. We looked through the first couple of games, we're like, this team, it's not going to be that great of a year. Even Troy Aikman on Monday Night Football said, yeah, this is going to be a tough year for the Commanders, but looking ahead after that, they're building something. And it's, again, I still feel like double-digit wins is probably that's going to be very optimistic.
Really?
I know.
Who knows, man?
It really, it really depends on. Honestly, I think it really depends on injuries. You
Yeah.
know,
Oh yeah. Yeah.
if Jaden Daniels can stay healthy throughout the season and continue to play smart, as the offense continues, as the offensive playbook continues to open up a little bit more for him, as he gets more and more comfortable, um, that's really the biggest key for him is injuries.
Oh yeah.
If he can stay healthy, play smart football, and that offensive line, honestly, that was one of the big question marks going into this season was the offensive line. I think they've answered the bell. I
Oh
think
yeah.
they have put a lot of doubters, including myself, at rest because they have played really well. They've opened up running lanes and they have protected Jaden Daniels. They have played really, really good football. And so I have to give my hats off to the offensive line. I can't say enough good things about them. Even maybe not having a solidified one person for that left tackle position, they're still protecting. Whether if it's Cornelius Lucas
Oh yeah.
or if it's Brandon Coleman coming in there, or Trent Scott or whoever it is. Things have been pretty good as far as protection, and so that was one thing that I felt if we can get good protection up front and we can get some time for Jaden Daniels, then this offense is going to develop quicker, and we're
Oh yeah.
seeing that. If this offensive line played like they did last year, with those guys we had last year, Jaden Daniels struggles.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
He plays better than Sam, but he struggles because he's going to be running for his life. He's not really running for his life as much.
Oh
You
no.
see him like he's back there. He wants to pass the football. Even when he starts scrambling, he
Oh yeah.
still has his eyes downfield as receivers, and he runs out of necessity. And that's what they were talking about today. And that is something that is really that that's what I love about Jaden is the fact that he's got it. Like if he's got to take off, you better watch out. But he really wants to be a true quarterback. And I think that was the difference between him. And you're going to hear these comparisons, not just from me, but from everybody. And I think that this is the difference. If you go back to 2012 and RG3, I felt like, RG3 wasn't that great of a passer. But I mean,
Yeah.
he could make plays with his legs. He didn't know how to slide, things like that. I felt like RG3 would take off and run, um, and he's thinking once he starts running, that's it. He's not going to pull up and pass.
Yeah.
Um, and Jaden Daniels, exact opposite. And I think hopefully that's going to be a difference between Jaden keeping himself upright and healthy as opposed to what happened with RG3. Because RG3 had a pretty solid offensive line
Oh yeah.
back in 2012. And so, yeah, I mean, for me, it's just injuries will dictate, I think, how the season goes. And if our key guys can stay healthy, Terry McLaurin, Jaden Daniels, Brian Robinson, hopefully we'll get Austin Eckler back.
Oh yeah.
If these guys can stay healthy, the offense is going to keep clicking. I have no doubt about that. It's going to continue to evolve.
Oh, absolutely.
Defense, they need to keep at it. They had a really good game today, for the most part, but they need to keep at it. It can't just be Frankie Louvu and Bobby Wagner and Jeremy Chin. It's got to be everybody else stepping up, and hopefully we start to see shades of that today, and hopefully we'll continue to see shades or more of that opening up as the season progresses. So all of that mumbling and rambling from yours truly, because I want to avoid saying that I think I can see them winning 10 games.
Come on, man.
So I don't want to get disappointed, right? But honestly though, yeah, look at the NFC East right now. The Eagles are not that dominant team that they were 2 years ago. They are a shell. They're an empty shell of what they were before. I have some Eagles fans who are my friends, and they will probably tell you the same thing. Um, they will tell you there's something wrong there. And like you said, I think Nick Sirianni, I think he is definitely in the hot seat at this
Oh,
point.
oh
I
yeah,
mean
it's on fire.
that seat is smoking, baby. It is smoking. The Giants, we always talk about them being a hot mess. I can't never figure them out. I think they're trying so desperately to make it work with Daniel Jones because they're married to him. I
Yeah,
mean,
oh yeah,
it's going to set their team back if they get rid of him. But honestly, they hitched they hitched their ride to his wagon, and so I mean they're kind of stuck with him right now, and that's going to be either the downfall or the redemption for Dayball because you know your quarter your coach, so goes the coach with the quarterback, and
yeah,
they're tied together, and so that could be bad for the Giants. Now, having Malik Neighbors, very good pickup. Um, so he's going to help out Daniel Jones, but Daniel Jones has to actually be able to get the ball to him.
oh yeah,
Um, I feel that the next time that the Commanders meet them, it's going to be a different ball game because obviously by then uh, this team will have matured.
yeah, yeah.
And again, barring any type of injuries, and I'm not speaking that into existence. You know, I'm just saying by that point because we're really playing the bulk of our NFC East games toward the end of the season
Yeah,
anyway.
yeah,
So, by that point, we'll really know: are the Eagles really that bad? Are the Giants really that bad? And are the Cowboys just you know they're hyped as much as they always are, but always fail to deliver, and I'm fine with that. I have no problems with
yeah.
them not delivering,
No
but
problems.
they have not looked good either. And so there's a reason why the Commanders right now are in sole possession of the NFC East because they they keep getting better, and the rest of the teams just don't look that good. They really don't. Um, so I would say that looking ahead, definitely some winnable games. You could see this team 5-2, maybe. Because that
Hmm.
Baltimore game is going to be kind of hard.
It's gonna be a tough one.
Yeah, but 5-2, I would have never had thought that. I would have felt that if this team could be like 3-4 or something like that, getting closer to the midway point of the season, then I'd be like, they're not too bad. They're because I would know that a few of those losses were, probably close losses, hard fought games and stuff like that.
Yeah,
But they're 3-1 now. Um, beating Cleveland next week, making them 4-1. Then I'm kind of like, okay, well, they're they're only 3 games away from my
right.
year total, and I really at that point I can't fathom them just winning 3 games down the stretch after that.
Yeah,
Because they're just playing too good, and I'm pinching myself. I'm sorry, folks, for just babbling on about this, but I know a lot of you guys out there too are probably pinching yourself. You're like, how in the world I have not been able to actually sit back and watch a Commanders game and thinking, how many points are they going to win by? Because that's
I
what I
know, right?
started to think. I'm like, are they going to score over 40 points in this game? I mean, I was actually thinking that. I wasn't thinking like, just hold on, don't let them back on the field because I don't want to see this tremendous collapse in the fourth quarter. Instead, I'm thinking, I think they have a chance to score over 40, and they did.
Yeah,
So, so other than Baltimore, and of course our division
yeah.
games, who else is on our schedule that we would be like, you know what, it's going to take an act of Congress to beat these guys. I need to go back and look at their schedule.
Hey, that's what I'm saying, man. I mean, I don't see anybody on the schedule that really terrifies me outside. I mean, New Orleans, but even then, they're kind of up and down. Like they said, they lost today to Kirk Cousins and the Falcons, and the Falcons kind of the same category. They're a team that they could beat us, but they could also be a winnable game too because they're kind of up and down with being consistent too. And looking at the Falcons, man, they have a lot of weapons, man. So when they figure it out, that's going to be a team to really watch out for in the NFC, in my opinion. But that's it, man. Because I'm looking at the schedule now. I mean, Baltimore, like I said, Baltimore in Baltimore is going to be hard. It's hard to win in Baltimore. But outside of that, let's see. The Browns at home to me is winnable. At Baltimore, it's going to be a tough one. At home against Carolina, easy. At home against the Bears, easy. At New York, now they always catch us in New Jersey. So if we're going to lose one to the Giants, it's going to be in East Rutherford, New Jersey, man. We always, for some reason, lose in New Jersey. But I could see the Cowboys. I could see probably one of the two of the division guys sneaking to win against us because we always split against Philly or the Cowboys, man. But I mean, Tennessee, Will Levis is just all over the place, man. I mean, this guy has a turnover every game that hurts him. Falcons, got a lot of weapons, but outside of divisional games, the Steelers again. I'm just not a big. I like Justin Fields, and my dad is a big Steelers fan, man. But I mean, Justin Fields is just he's been playing well, but he's still not a quarterback that really terrifies any defenses, man. And even with Najee Harris and a lot of weapons they have, George Pickens, I still think it's a winnable game. So yeah, I'm gonna hold back from saying getting too excited, but I think this is a good team. Now we do have holes in this team, and we do need to spend some money in the offseason. Let me say that. I mean, who truly is the number one corner here in Washington? We need a number one corner. I mean, St. Juice is not the number one guy. Forbes right now is not the number one guy. We need to go out there and go get a number one lockdown corner, in my opinion. This draft coming up, we need to go get another middle linebacker because, like I said, we don't know how long we got with Bobby Wagner. Like, he's towards the end of his career, so, adding a linebacker or two. But, the defensive line, we got some choices to make on the defensive line. Deron Payne and Jonathan Allen, they have to step it up, or, one or both of them could be trade pieces. Because, like I said, Adam Peters has shown he's not scared to make a move. He is not scared to get better. And, you look at the salary cap situation, they're making Pro Bowl money, and they have to start playing Pro Bowl football, in my opinion. Like I said, Jonathan Allen had a better game, but, we still expect more out of him. And the same thing with Deron Payne. And a little more is on Jonathan Allen because this is always a guy that's, doing the rah-rah stuff all the time. We telling fans they got to show up and this and this and this. Well, now you got to show up. And that's and I like Jonathan Allen, man. His jersey's in my closet. And I don't wear scrubs in my closet, man. So, like I said, I do like Jonathan Allen, man. It's just, he's got to step it up. Or I can see him being moved at some point, whether it's at the deadline or next year, man. But he's going to be moved at some point, in my opinion. And Deron Payne, the same thing. Because looking at, you got Johnny Newton. And Darian Mathis could step up. So you have the depth. Depth is a big thing with this team. You see a lot of depth. And I think that's why you're seeing a different team than you saw in years past because you have guys who are ready to step up and be the next man up and play really good football. McNichols, man, look, to me, he gets the game ball. Not because his performance is that much. It was a good team victory, but he stepped up being a third-string guy. It's hard to be a third-string, come up and have a good performance like he did. So, like I said, very impressed overall, man. And I think keep pushing forward. Keep pushing forward, man, because this is a good team. Now, are we ready to compete yet? Nah, not in my opinion. But I think we're definitely going to surprise a lot of people in the NFL.
And you kind of went right into what I was going to ask you to finish up the stream. Was who gets your game ball? So McNichols gets your game ball. Of course, it's always easy to give it to Jaden Daniels.
Yeah.
You'd have to give a game ball to him, but certainly Brian Robinson Jr. continues to be the workhorse. And yeah, folks, I mean this offense doesn't work unless you have a good solid running game. And I think they talked about that too when Cliff Kingsbury was in Arizona. The running game is what really hindered him there.
Yeah.
And so he's got it now. He's got a very deep backfield, guys who can step up when they need to. And then, stars like Eckler, Brian Robinson. So, I would definitely say the running game because I'm old school. I love running game. I love smash mouth football,
Oh yeah.
and so I'm loving that. But I also love the fact that Jaden Daniels is getting the ball to his playmakers, Terry McLaurin. He's looking for McLaurin. He wants to continue to feed him, and McLaurin he's doing it, man. He's catching those balls. Um, but yeah, I would say game ball certainly uh, McNichols, Brian Robinson, Jaden Daniels, those three guys right there. Of course, then on defense, um, Frankie Louvu, he's a beast.
Oh
Um,
man.
I mean, how many times they call his name today? So, um, he definitely gets a game ball as well, and I want to be able to give some game balls out to more of the defense because I want to see more from the defense, and I think we finally start to see more with the defense today. But we need to continue to see it.
Oh yeah.
So, well, folks, you guys have been quiet. Usually we have some chatters. We didn't have the chatters. You must have one of the other live streams going on in your other screen. That's fine. There's room for everybody. But you've been awful quiet. But hey, that's fine. We're all tired. We're all not really looking forward to Monday morning, unless unless you're working with a bunch of um, you know Eagles fans, and then you'll probably wake up 2 hours early just so you can get to the office. But um, folks, hope you enjoyed this. Today was a great day. Um, finally a finally a huge routing win. I've been
Sir.
waiting for a game like this for a long time, a complete game, and we finally saw it. And this is going to be something that they continue to build on. I know years past, you'd see a team come out and okay, they had a good game, and then it would kind of, you know, kind of fizzle out the next game, or you would have these Washington teams that they're dead because Ron Rivera pretty much would have them at like 2-6 or something like that. Then all of a sudden they wake up, and then they start giving you some hope, and until it finally gets dashed toward the end of the season. I don't want to see that. I want to continue to see this team get better.
Yeah.
I want to continue to see them above 500, and I want them to definitely prove me wrong. That I'm thinking 7 wins is very respectable for this team this year. After what we saw last year, we're going to see a better team. Who knows, man? I mean, it could be, it could definitely be a, um, oh, there we are. I'm, yeah, we're here, Cash Washington. Sorry, I didn't see you. I had my button on the wrong thing, so I apologize. So I appreciate that. Um, but yeah, seeing this team continue to play better. So we'll have a video on this, but very quickly as we look forward to Cleveland next week, um, quickly, what do you think the keys will be? And we'll expand on this, but the very, very early look at Cleveland. What does the Commanders have to do to win that game?
Oh, the same thing with the three keys to victory for this game, man. I mean, number one, who emerges as the second and third scoring option? Terry McLaurin, who takes that pressure off him? This game, it was Zacchaeus took a lot of pressure off him. Next game, could it be Luke McCaffrey? Could it be De'Ami Brown? We'll see. We'll see what the status is with Austin Eckler. But look, when Nichols showed that if he's not ready to go, we have a guy who can definitely come in and provide some help to Brian Robinson Jr. But what weapons emerge to help out Brian Robinson Jr. and Terry McLaurin on the offense. Defensively, the secondary, they showed it today that when they're clicking on the same page, that they're not bad. Now, I'm not saying we're good to go. Obviously, we definitely need some upgrades, but definitely being on the same page, together often, defensively, the secondary. Putting pressure on the quarterback. I'm looking at Deron Payne. I'm looking at Jonathan Allen. They've got to get pressure on Deshaun Watson. Hate him or love him, Deshaun Watson can move a little bit. Obviously, he hasn't been that guy that a lot of us thought he was going to be the same guy in Houston. Obviously, there's a lot that entails with that, a lot of off the field stuff that we're not going to talk about, but he's still a threat. So we definitely had to put some pressure on him to make those quick reads and really make those quick decisions, man, and try to get some turnovers out of him. But the same thing we had with this game, pressure on the quarterback, the secondary really clicking and really staying on the same page with each other, and offensively, not so much on Terry McLaurin and Brian Robinson Jr., but who emerges to help them out, who helps carry the weight. So that would be my 3 keys of victory.
Yeah, and I would say, try to keep Deshaun Watson in check. Continue to rush and pressure the quarterback. For the most part, we kept Kyler Murray in check today. So we should be able to do that with Deshaun Watson as well. Defense, like you said, we still need more. We need more out of that defensive front, out of Deron Payne, Jonathan Allen. We need to see some sacks. We need to see some consistent pressure, and we need to see some better opportunities to fill in those gaps, to stop the run, to put the ball in the hands of Deshaun Watson. If Cleveland's going to beat you, then force it into Deshaun Watson's hands, make him beat you. But you need to stop that run. So they need to work on that. And then, a third thing is just, continue to protect Jaden Daniels, allow him to be able to, make the easy throws, but keep, as they're doing and it's working, continue the tempo offense. It is definitely working. This was something that I couldn't understand, and like last year, and when you had a poor offensive line, why didn't you go with more of a tempo type of offense? Getting the ball out of Sam's hands, allowing him to use the passing game as an extension of the running game if he had to, and then run the ball more. I'm not, Eric Bieniemy. I'm not going to get into Eric Bieniemy now because he makes me upset. But this year it's exactly the way that it needs to happen for a young quarterback. Up tempo offense. Keep things quick, keep things short, and then when he's able to have time to look down the field, let him see what he can do. Great pass down the field today that calls the PI. That's as good as a catch to me. So, just continue that protection, run the football, and stuff the run. So those are the 3 things I think, and we'll certainly talk about this a little bit more toward the end of the week. But all right, folks, I think we're going to go ahead and say that's it. We're going to let you guys go and celebrate this great win for the Washington Commanders. Again, 42-14 over the Arizona Cardinals. They're at home against Cleveland next Sunday. And folks, if you enjoyed this stream, please give us a like. Please give us a like. We can definitely use those likes. Share these videos out with your friends, and just tell them about the Washington Football Maniacs, man. We're just a couple of guys who love to sit and chat about football, and every now and then we have some very good special guests on. You can go back and watch our earlier video we had with Joe Theismann back before the season started. If you haven't watched that video, if you're a new subscriber here, go back and watch that video with Joe Theismann. So we try to bring in some good, cool guests. And with that said, Brandon, I think we are going to sign off and go to bed.
Oh, yeah.
All right, folks. Hope you enjoyed it. We will see you in the next one. Take care.